Hi everybody, welcome along to another Victory English video lesson. This time we're talking about recommendations. So let's begin. In this lesson you will learn some common categories used when talking about businesses, how to ask for and give recommendations for stores, hotels, restaurants, and some other things too. And of course, some tips to make your recommendation sound better. So why is this an important skill or a useful skill? This will greatly improve your everyday functional use of English. It's a very real world skill to have. You can ask your friends, your family, and it is very functional skill to have, okay? So you can use this skill to talk to new people, meet new people, which can help you make new friends and also improve your confidence as well. Of course, it helps your skills to talk about other topics too. So let's move on to the present slide and have a look at some of the information and the grammar that we will use today. So, some categories that we often use to talk about a recommendation. So we have a few categories within the recommendation. The first one is the service or the staff. The service or staff, okay? Now, this is to talk about the service is how were you treated when you went there? Were you treated well by the people who work there? Or did they take a long time to serve you or to help you? Did they not help you very well? So this is how we can actually talk about that, is using the service and staff category. Okay. The next one that we will use is the price. The price category. This, of course, is to talk about the money or the costs. Now, we also have another video on this channel about prices and asking about them. So if you would like some more information about price, you can check the other video if you like. So we have service, staff, and price. We also have the selection. Selection, okay? Now, this is to talk about what can you buy in this place when you are recommending a shop or a restaurant or a hotel or whatever it may be. We can talk about the selection to discuss what can we buy there. Okay, is the selection, is it very good or not so good or so? It depends, okay? Service, price, selection. The next thing we can talk about is the location. The location. So this, of course, is to talk about where is this place? Where is it? Is it easy to get there? Is it difficult to find? So we will look at some examples later. And the last thing we can talk about is the atmosphere. The atmosphere, okay? So the atmosphere is to talk about how do you feel when you actually go inside this place? Is it very old-fashioned? Is it very new and modern? Is it a little bit noisy? Is it too quiet? So we can use the atmosphere category to talk about all of those things. Okay, so we have, again, just to remind you, the service, staff, price for the money, selection, what can we actually buy there? The location is where is the place? And the atmosphere, how do you feel when you go in there? Okay, so Some tips to sound more like a native, of course, very important. So you can talk about more than one category at a time. So this is very important and a very easy way to really take your English to the next level. You can talk about the price and then the location, or you can talk about the selection and the atmosphere. So we'll talk about more than one at the same time, okay? The next tip, you can use some enthusiasm in your voice. So if you really think this is a great place, you can use your voice to enhance your recommendation. Okay, of course, we'll check some examples, so don't worry. So regarding the grammar, we will use the present simple with the verb be and some other verbs depending on the recommendation, okay? And of course, we will check the form of the questions and answers. So let's move on to the vocabulary slide and have a look at some of the vocabulary within these categories here, okay? We'll check some vocabulary that we can use within these categories. Okay. So we can also use some extra words to make our sentences longer, of course. We can use our adverbs very, really, or quite, okay, if you want to. But let's look at the vocab first of all. So to talk about the service or the staff, we can use this word here, great. Very straightforward, okay? The service was great, or the service is great. Okay, so it was really good. We, for example, in a restaurant, you sit down, they serve you very quickly, give you the menu, bring your food very quickly. That would be great service, okay? Perhaps it was not so good, and you can say the service is very slow. The service is slow, or maybe the staff are a bit slow, okay? Here is a very good word to talk about the staff. This word is knowledgeable. Knowledgeable. So if you need to pause the video anytime to check the meaning in your dictionary, of course you can feel free to do so. But knowledgeable means they have a lot of knowledge and they can help you very well. They have a lot of knowledge and they know a lot about the products. So this can be good for perhaps an electronics store. If you're going to buy a new smartphone, the staff are knowledgeable. They can help you with the details of the phones or the computers or whatever you're buying. Okay, the next one here again for staff, we can say the staff are very helpful. So they will help you. Knowledgeable, helpful, quite similar. So there we have 4 adjectives to talk about the service and the staff, okay? Great, slow, knowledgeable, helpful. Okay, now let's look at the price over here. Again, this is to talk about how much money do we need, okay? So the first one is expensive. Expensive. So just be careful about this word. Some people say expensive. This is not correct. We need to say expensive. Okay, just be careful with the V sound. V. Expensive, not expensive. No, no expensive. Okay. So the next thing we can say is reasonably priced. This is when it's kind of in the middle, kind of not too expensive, and the price is okay. The price is okay. We can say reasonably priced. Okay, and the last thing we can say about the price, cheap. Just a little bit of money, cheap. Okay, so the first one, expensive. This is a lot of money. Reasonably priced means it's normal and it's okay. And cheap only a little bit of money. Okay, so let's have a look at the next category, the selection. In here, we will use some extra verbs. Okay. In this example, we're going to use a restaurant, and we will talk about the food that they serve, the food that they actually sell to customers, okay? So the verb that we can use here is serve, okay? So the selection, again, we could have perhaps Western food, like hamburgers, pizza, okay? We could have Asian food, maybe pho, or let me see, pad thai, or something like that. And of course, they could serve vegetarian food, okay? So again, we're going to use an extra verb here, serve. And another verb we can use about selection, we can say they stock or sell. Stock or sell. Okay, this one is used for shops. Perhaps, as you can see in the example here, a phone shop, electronics shop, a clothes shop, maybe even a supermarket. You can say they stock a lot of good quality products. Okay, so here we have the service, the price, the selection. The next category, of course, is the location. So where is this place? Where do you have to go? Okay, here is a very good phrase you can use. This one is dotted all over the city. Dotted all over the city. Now, what does this mean? This is to talk about a business or a company that has many branches around the city. One example of this would be Starbucks coffee, McDonald's, Burger King. Okay, there's not only one in the city, they are dotted all over the city. Okay, so that's a good thing to say about the location. Again, very natural and fluent and native way to speak. Okay, dotted all over the city. The next thing you can say about the location, you can just say, which street is it on? It's on the main street, on something avenue, main avenue, first avenue, or whatever it is, okay? Possibly in the city center, in the village, in the countryside. It depends where it is, okay? But the first one here, dotted all over the city, that is a very good phrase to remember. So the last category we will look at is the atmosphere. The atmosphere. You may remember this is how do you feel in this place? What is the feeling like when you go inside, okay? So we have a modern atmosphere, which means it's very new. For example, the tables and chairs are quite new. And it could be all of new equipment, new products, okay? So we would say the atmosphere is modern. Perhaps it could be noisy. Maybe maybe a coffee shop for young teenagers could be a bit noisy with some music, and it could also be quiet. So noisy, too much noise, and quiet, no noise, which I like. I like quiet places. Okay, so again, if you want to pause and check the meaning, you can feel free to do so. But you can see here all of the vocabulary for these 5 categories, okay? Service, price, selection, location, atmosphere. So let's go to the next slide and have a look at some sentences using this vocabulary and some of these examples, okay? Here we go. So if you want to ask for a recommendation, you first need to know the question. Okay, here is an example. So you will say this to your friend or your colleague or your family or perhaps even a stranger in the street. Okay, so can you recommend a restaurant around here? Can you recommend a restaurant around here? Of course, we can change this word here, restaurant. We can change this to a bar, a pizza restaurant, for example. Can you recommend a phone store to buy a new mobile phone? Anything like that. You can change the word restaurant to anything you want, okay? And here is another way to ask, I need a new phone, or I need a new shirt, or I need a new table. Can you recommend anywhere good? Okay, I'll just go over this example again, number 2 here. I need a new phone. Can you recommend anywhere good? Okay, I need a new shirt. Can you recommend anywhere good? I need a new table for my kitchen, for my home, or maybe a new chair. I need a new computer, whatever you need, okay? You can use the same structure. Can you recommend anywhere good? Okay, so let's go and have a look at some examples. We have some simple answers and some more detailed answers, okay? Remember our tip, try to use more than one category at a time. Here are some simple answers, okay? So, can you recommend a restaurant around here? Yes, I'd recommend the Pizza House. The service is great and it's reasonably priced. Okay, let's have a quick look at this sentence. Can you see here we have I'd. Okay, of course, this is actually 2 words. I would, and we will bring them together to make 1 word. Again, this is how you sound more natural when you speak English. You use the short form. I'd recommend the Pizza House. Okay, so this is the name of the place that we are recommending. And next, we're going to talk about 1 category. The service is great. The service is great. And then another category, the price. So we can say it's reasonably priced. Here we have 2 categories. Very straightforward, very easy. Okay, let's have a look at another example. So another way we can introduce our recommendation, you should try. You should try, okay? So you can see in the first example, we said, I'd recommend. And the second one, we say, you should try. It has the same meaning. We're just giving a recommendation to help somebody to find somewhere, okay? So again, can you recommend a restaurant around here? You should try Seafood Palace. Seafood Palace, okay? Again, we're talking about the price. It's cheap and they serve all kinds of seafood. Okay, remember we can use serve to talk about the selection. Okay, so we have 2 examples here, straightforward, just using very simple structures. I'd recommend, the service is great and it's reasonably priced. You should try Seafood Palace, it's cheap and they serve all kinds of seafood. Okay, if you like seafood, of course. Okay, let's have a look at some more detailed answers, okay? Some more detailed answers. Now, we will use the same structure here. You can see we have I would, and we put it together to say I'd, okay? So for this example here, we're talking about maybe buying a new phone, okay? If your friend asks you for a recommendation for a new phone, you can say, I'd recommend Electric Avenue, just for example. The staff are very knowledgeable. Okay, so here we have one category, staff. They stock all the popular brands. Okay, that's two categories, the staff, selection, and the prices are reasonable. Now we have three categories. The prices are reasonable. Okay, can we fit in one more? I think so, yes. It's in the city center on Oxford Street. Now we have four categories. Okay, so this is a very good example, very detailed. Again, if you can say more, it makes you sound more natural and it makes your recommendation sound a lot better. Okay, so in this example, we have four categories. The simple examples up here, we have just two, but that's also very good, okay? If you can do two, that's brilliant. So let's look at another detailed example. Can you recommend a restaurant around here? You should go to McDonald's. Again, this is an example of one that is all over the city. They are everywhere, okay? They're dotted all over the city. It's cheap and the atmosphere is great for kids. The atmosphere is great for kids. Remember, the atmosphere is how do we feel inside? When we go inside the restaurant, what's it like in there? Is it clean? Is it quiet? Is it noisy? Okay. So again, you can see we're using the same structure to start the recommendation. You should. We have up here, you should try, you should go to. Okay. There is one more example. So if we need a new table or a new chair or something, okay? So can you recommend a furniture store around here? So we have, you should try Frank's Furniture. It's expensive, but the staff are great. They stock furniture from all over the world and it's located in the town center. Located in the town center. Okay, let's have a quick look at this. So we have, of course, you should try. That's how we can begin our recommendation. Frank's Furniture, the name of the shop. And we have to talk about the first category. We're talking about price. It's expensive. It's a bit expensive. Now, this word here, but, we use this to separate. Maybe we have something that is maybe not so good, like expensive, but the next thing is really good. The staff are great. So we use this small word, but, in the middle of the two. Okay. It's expensive, but the staff are great. They stock furniture from all around the world, and it's located in the town center. Again, we have four categories there. That's a very good recommendation, okay? Lots of details. So that's a very good example. Again, if you want to pause and check any of the translations, you can go ahead. And now we shall move on to the next slide, which is the summary slide, just to summarize our lesson, okay? So in summary, asking for and giving recommendations is an important skill for your use of your English, okay? If you learn English, you want to use it for everyday functions. And this is a very good example of that. Okay, it's a good skill to have, especially if you're going somewhere new and you want to start a conversation with someone. Maybe you want to get a recommendation for somewhere to go and eat dinner. Okay, to sound more fluent, when you give a recommendation, try to use 2 or 3 of the categories given in the video. Okay, so that was price, service or staff, selection, location, atmosphere. Okay, and we can use I'd recommend or you should try to start your recommendation. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, please press the like button and leave a comment down below to let us know as well. And I hope you enjoyed the lesson and look forward to seeing you again next time. So take care, bye-bye, and thanks again.